Welcome everybody to today's interview we're having in the frame of our series CESI Talks, and I'm very pleased and honored to have Nicolas Schmit with me. Nicolas Schmit is Commissioner for Jobs, very important jobs, I remember the discussion, and social rights. Welcome to our today's CESI Talks interview.
Hello.
You have been now Commissioner for more than 3 years. If you look back at these 3 years, what are you particularly proud of and what are you slightly disappointed about?
Well, I must say, when we started this commission, it was very important as I was asked by the president of the commission, to strengthen the social dimension of the European policies. So this was in my mission letter. This was something which was very, very much asked for also by unions, I think also by citizens. And it was after the adoption of the Pillar of Social Rights. So I think we worked on this basis. And at the same time, we launched big projects. You know, the Green Deal was a big project. Well, still is the big project of this commission. We wanted to make Europe more digital. But in all these big projects, the social dimension was always anchored in these projects. And then came the crisis, COVID crisis, and finally the war. With all the consequences of the war, and I think we never lost the social dimension. We always kept this dimension in when we launched the Green Deal, when we talked about digital with a platform, for instance, but also skills, the skills initiatives. So in that sense, I'm quite happy, if I may, if a commissioner can be happy. I'm quite happy that this was some kind of a new social, not priority, but social element in European policies. Now, concretely speaking, because we adopted a directive on minimum wages. I would have, few years ago, and somebody would have told me, well, once Europe will have a directive on minimum wage, I would not really have believed it. So this was obviously an important step, but also in other areas. We adopted a child guarantee. We adopted a care strategy. We had a directive on wage transparency to better guarantee gender equality. We adopted, even if it's only a recommendation on adequate minimum income. So on the basis of the action plan in Porto, and Porto was obviously a very strong moment, we made quite important progress. Now, are there also points of disappointment? Certainly there are. We could have done better. We could have done more. We could have made progress more rapidly. Now, I think we still have some important challenges. First, we have to adopt definitely the platform directive. And second, and that's one of my strongest points, I would say, we have to make sure that in the future economic governance of the Union, social is also part of. I think this is the challenge we still have to win.
Yeah, concerning the proposal from the Commission, by the way, we're extremely pleased with it, and we hope that after a very strong position of Parliament, of course, this will not be diluted too much by the Council. Let's wait. You mentioned already the future of the economic governance, and to bring this directive on the platform economy, basically to have it adopted. What initiatives can we expect now? I know that there's strong ambition also at the European Commission for the coming year and until the end of 2024, knowing, of course, that things will be more and more difficult to have them brought through. What initiatives can we expect now until the end, basically, of the current mandate?
Well, there is one initiative we are about to take now in very rapidly, which was not in our program, which is the initiative on European Works Councils, which should then reinforce and strengthen the functioning of European Works Council, which is important in a period of big transformation in the European economy. So this is an initiative which was taken by the European Parliament, but on the basis of the commitment taken by the President to follow up on initiative reports by the Parliament, we will start now the consultation on a legislative proposal on a European Works Council. We are also working on a council recommendation on developing social economy. I think we noticed that there is a growing interest for social economy all over Europe, in many countries, where finally before I had not the feeling that social economy was such an important subject. Now I heard from the German government, by the way, that they want to push for social economy. So this will be a recommendation we will table in June. There will be probably a recommendation or a directive on better traineeships, and especially the payment of traineeships. This is something young people asked for. It was a topic which came up during the conference on the future of Europe. And we want also to make mobility more efficient and fairer. And this is the digitalization of social security. I think we really have to make our coordination of social security systems more effective, more simpler, because if people have worked in different countries and so on, there's still some issues we have to improve. Posting, we still have perhaps too much bureaucracy. So to fight abuses, but also to make life easier for companies. And finally, we are waiting for a negotiation going on between social partners on telework and the right to disconnect. So this is more or less our program as far as I can now overview it up to the end of this mandate.
Commissioner, the European Commission also has come forward recently with one communication, one proposal for council recommendation to strengthen social dialogue. Sure. Why does the Commission want to strengthen social dialogue at both national and EU level? Why is it, I mean, we're of course strong proponents of it. Why is it from the Commission's perspective needed?
Well, first, because social dialogue is an inherent part of our economic model. I think we like to speak all the time about the social market economy, but the social market economy only exists if you have strong social partners and a good functioning social dialogue. Without that, you do not really have social market economy. Well, we have, in some countries, this works quite well. In others, it works less. We have in some countries, for historical reasons, not the same strong social partners. So it is also about strengthening the capacity of social partners in those member states where their possibilities, their capacities are still underdeveloped. So I think this is the first point. Second, we are living in a period of huge transformations. How can you make these transformations accepted by people, by workers, by citizens? I think this is only possible if you enter into a real social dialogue. And third, we are going through a difficult period of social issues, of wage issues, where we need social dialogue, we need better collective bargaining, because there is a lot of concern among citizens about their purchasing power. We see it in many countries where strikes have developed now recently. And I think here we need a strong social dialogue to face this rather exceptional situation.
The communication refers to the social dialogue, EU social dialogue, and since EU social dialogue is of course specific in the sense that industrial action cannot be simply taken at EU level, so there's a strong role also and responsibility, I would say, to promote for the European Commission to promote this social dialogue. And I can imagine that there's very often a quite different approach or a different balance to strike between inclusive social dialogue on the one hand and the autonomy of social partners. What is the Commission's line in this respect, knowing, as I said, that this is probably quite difficult question to answer?
Well, first, I think that autonomy and inclusiveness can perfectly go together. I think there is no opposition between autonomy on one hand and inclusiveness. On autonomy, I think it is very clear that this is a precondition of real social dialogue, because social partners have to be autonomous. They have to be able to negotiate in full autonomy. So I think this is also part, not just about our model of social market economy. I would say this is part of our democracy. To have a real democracy, we need autonomous social partners. That's the first point. So I think we insist very much on that. By the way, the autonomy of social partners is anchored in the treaty. This is something which is essential for our political and social systems. Inclusiveness means that obviously we have to be open to discuss with all those who are representative. Well, there might be some differences, but I consider it's important to discuss with all those who are representative forces among social partners. And I try to practice that. Sometimes it seems not to be as easy as that, as I've heard, but finally we find solutions. Recently, when we talked about an important, by the way, for me, very important sector, which is the social sector, care sector, to create a sectoral dialogue. I have always been in favor of inclusiveness, to take all those who are representative forces on board, to associate them to social dialogue. Because if you do not associate everybody who is representative, well, you are running the risk that you will not get the quality of social dialogue you need, and you will not get the results which are really accepted by a large majority of forces, of representative forces. Therefore, I am very open to, I'm absolutely committed to autonomy, but I'm also very much open to as much inclusiveness as possible.
Commissioner, many thanks. All the best to you in these coming years. And if I may say, we have been very also impressed by the work of the Commission in these past years. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.